Alrighty, what's up? Welcome back to another rapid review. We already know why we're here. It's in the title. Our beloved OG Mando, Hobo Mando, Durasteel Mando, Mando. However you want to call this, I call him Durasteel Mando just because it sounds better than Hobo Mando. Anyway, as always, let's go ahead and start with the box art. We have that engraved Star Wars text that we're all familiar with. That beautiful, luscious shine. We have the cigar wrap that doesn't go all the way around the box. It instead goes around the box and inside the insert. Then, of course, we have the cool ending credits looking portion of the box there. TMS 007, if you will. That's actually quite good for Mando because he kind of reminds me of 007. So let's go ahead and get this lid off. And there we go. Now, like I said before, the cigar wraps around here. It doesn't go all the way around the box, and it's held down by stickers. It's kind of hard to see in the lighting, but the stickers are here. Circular stickers. And then we open it up to that beautiful box art, or the card art rather, in this case. Shout out to the photographer there. This looks really, really good. I tried to repose it with the strap underneath the hand. That was a bit more difficult than anything. However, if you're also trying to redo this particular pose, be very careful because the yellow on the hands will definitely scuff that weapon. And then here we have the housing compartments for the items and everything. We have the lightning here, which I have not used. So let's go ahead and get this plastic off. There we go. We have the instructions here, which I've not taken off. We have the lightning that go on the gun. As you can see there. I'll take it out for you all. Just kind of fell out. Okay. All right. It kind of reminds me of Palpatine's lightning there. That you can get with the Palpatine Deluxe. I want to say it come with the regular variant too, but I'm uncertain. Because sadly, I don't have one. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this back. Don't want to get any dust on it, so there we go. Alrighty, and then we have the shoulder piece here. Which I honestly I decided against putting it on. This is what it looks like underneath. This is what it looks like on top. I wanted the full hobo, if you will, look to my Mandalorian. So I opted against putting this on. Let's go ahead and put this back. There we go. And then we also have the hands here, which you can see in this compartment. We got a couple pegs there as well. Let's go ahead and show those before we show the hands. There we go. A couple extra pegs. You never know what could happen. Thank you, Hot Toys. And then again, we have the hands. We also have the, apologies. The detonator goes here as well, but I actually have the detonator on the belt. We have the tracking fob. And again, we have a couple hands. So let's go ahead and get into showing those off. So there we go. If you want to go into more of like a melee stance with his rifle or something like that, you could do that. Maybe even have him holding his belt, holding the bandolier across his chest. It's totally up to you. And the same thing here. As you can see, it's pretty much the same hand. It just goes on the opposite side. Then you also have the clenched fist. There we go. Straightforward. You know, if you want to have him decking a death trooper, or if you want to set up the fighting pose with heavy Mando, you can definitely do that too. It's got quite a few uses for this as well. And then the same thing for the left hand. Alrighty, and then we have the very tiny, minute. It's so tiny I can't get it to focus. Come on, focus for me. There we go. Alrighty, and then we have that tiny, minute tracking fob. Be very careful with this thing. That's what it looks like on the front. That's it on the back. I choose to keep this inside of the packaging because it's so tiny, I don't want to lose it. Alrighty, and the reason we are here, which is for the figure itself, everything else can be found on my Mandalorian. And here we have the Mandalorian in the pose where he says, I like those odds, but I'm definitely going to have to redo this pose due to the heavy Mandalorian coming in. I want to say maybe this week, realistically next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday. But again, as I pointed out previously, you see that scuff there on the butt of this rifle? Be very careful when posing your Mandalorian with this rifle and these gloves. It scuffs very, very easily. It's kind of annoying. I'm going to try to see if I can maybe use some rubbing alcohol to get that off, but yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Alrighty, so before we actually start deep diving into the figure itself, let's get the base out of the way. The base I feel is really cool. I like this textured effect to it. It's kind of a difficult thing to say. I wish they didn't add these prints here, because I understand it would look kind of weird without doing it, but at the same time, I wish they didn't, because I almost feel forced to pose him into the sand there, and it's not what I want to do. Outside of that, though, the base feels great. We have that beautiful metallic nameplate there. As you can see, Star Wars The Mandalorian looks great. We have these two very, very, very sharp prongs here. Be careful with that. That you can have projecting from the base, or if you don't want to, you can easily pull them out. Very easy to take them out and place them back in. Now, as well as, or with the base, sorry, we get this really cool Stormtrooper helmet. Look at the detailing in that. Looks really good. I love it almost looked like hot sand burned the helmet over time. I almost originally thought this was a bullet hole until realizing that it goes on the prong that I just told you all about. This is what it looks like underneath. There we go. This is what it looks like on the back. Really, really cool helmet. And like I said, this definitely, you could either put it here. Let's make sure we get it in there properly. There we go. You can either have it up higher, or how I originally had it, I had it set a little bit lower, about there. It's totally up to you. And I didn't mention it, but we do have the crotch grabber here. Alright, I know I said we were going to get to the figure, but let's go ahead and get to the accessories first. We have this film accurate rifle, which, mind you, the scope actually can detach off. So if you want to have him hold it as if he's looking into the distance for maybe an enemy or something, you can definitely do that. And then you can see there at the bottom the holes where you can attach it back. Alrighty. And then that's how you attach it back. I feel like this portion of it should be facing this way, but it's saying that it's supposed to face this way for whatever reason. I'm not a gun enthusiast, so I don't know these things. And then you also have that really cool bluing there on the tip of the rifle. And this is also where the lightning effect will go on the tip of that as well. Now, again, like I said earlier, you want to be very careful when posing your Mandalorian with this rifle or with any of your guns, because you have this annoying scuff from the gloves, as you can see. And you also want to be careful with it up here as well. I have very light scuffs, but it's not yellow, so be very careful. And we also have his blaster, which you can see here. Very light scuffs, again due to trying to put it in his hand, but look at the detailing in that. I love the gears and the hammer doesn't go back. For those of you wondering. The barrel's deep enough to where it doesn't look fake. I like it. And then we also have the other side of it. It isn't as detailed as this side, but who's really looking apart from us right now? And then I pointed out earlier, the detonator. That's it. You want to be very careful with this piece though. I don't like the incomplete look of it where it's not on his belt personally, but I have dropped this maybe 2 or 3 different times. You have to like really jab it into the belt so that it can stay. And this is to prevent it from scuffing the belt there. Alrighty, and last but not least, we have Mando himself. Look at this. Look at this figure. It's so cool. This is probably the first figure where I almost wanted to take out the fat suit. And it's strictly because of not being able to raise that arm up enough. That's about as high as it can go. It's difficult to want to like really put him in a dynamic pose because of it, which is why at the beginning of the video I pointed out having him in the pose that I originally had him in. It was a little bit easier to do. It still came with its difficulties though, having the fat suit. But let's get into the cool parts of the figure. Now these things here, they can come out. However, they are in there nice and taut. So if you don't like how they may not be in there, if you have an issue with symmetry, you can always repose those. Or if you want, you can take a couple of them out, put them into the box. It's totally up to you. I'm also in love with the detailing on that armor. And I just really love the dirty, I guess, grungy look, if you will, to this figure. Then we also have that helmet. There is no head sculpt underneath it. It literally just pops off. I would have liked maybe a couple dings or something in the helmet, but I understand why they wouldn't do it. But look at that. Look at the detailing in that. The whistling birds aren't in there just yet, but you know, it's going to get there. We won't spoil it for him. We also have the cartridges here in the belt, as you can see all the way around. We also have the cartridges down here in the boot. Again, a bit more detailing in the armor there. This is just such a really great figure. The cape is so good. There's no wiring in the cape. If you're familiar with how to make it appear as if it's flowing in the wind, I've seen a few creators go through and put braid ties in the belts and things of that nature to make it appear as if it's in the wind. I just didn't want to do it. Then this part here, there's actually a hole in the cape where the rifle, it's attached by a magnet, right? There it is. So through that, you can put the rifle on his back so that it can remain in place, but you have to pull it through this hole. But be careful, you don't want that to act all crazy on you. We also have a few sculpted pouches here on the back. We have that really cool looking armor on the back plate as well. And a couple more cartridges here. I forget just how many cartridges are on this thing. I fear losing them, honestly. We have the side plates there, as you can see. And that right there is going to have to be Mando. What I want to do, though, is show you all a couple clips, if you will, of the Mandalorian after this sequence. And I hope you enjoy them. But before we go ahead and kick it off into that B-roll portion, be very careful with this. This is probably the one thing that I have an issue with the most on this figure. When you're holstering that blaster, if you can see it there, every time you holster it, it's like pulling down some of the fabric on the inside. So the outside of it is covered and it looks great. The stitching is great. It feels good, but that inside, not so good. I can't tell you how many times I've had to come through, use scissors to clip off that little bit, as you can see there, just kind of hanging out, if you will. Not really a fan of that, but there you go. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and end it here. Before we kick you all off into the B-roll footage of the details and everything, I hope you all enjoyed today's upload. And if you did, make sure to follow us over on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram at Boston Collectors, Twitter at MA Collectors. And if you enjoyed today's footage as well, feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below what you thought of today's video, and if you also were able to pick up the OG Mandalorian. Enjoy the footage and enjoy the rest of your week.